What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Thanks for checking it out. Today's episode is going to be kind of just checking out some cars that are coming out in 2021 and 2022. I wanted to talk about some of those and give my thoughts and opinions on some of those, and have a discussion with you guys down below in the comments on your thoughts and some cars I'm going to miss, obviously, because there's no way that I can cover every car that's coming out. So yeah, let's get into this. My first initial thoughts are there's going to be a lot of Corvette and Challenger and Camaro talk, but I could be wrong. So let's get into it. Alright, so we got the first article here pulled up on Popular Mechanics, and the first image is the Corvette 2022. I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of 2022 models because 2020 was such a shit show. There's a lot of things that got pushed back and held up and all that kind of stuff, so got a feeling there'll be a lot of 2022 models here, but I'm not normally a fan of the muscle car genre, whether they're the old ones or the restyled ones they have these days. I'm just not a fan of them. But kind of sad to say, this one looks pretty sick. I love the body lines. It's just super aggressive looking. I think I like it more because it doesn't look like a Corvette. But because I mean, seriously, the C4 and the C5 just look so dinky. I mean, look at that. It's just like there's no real like aggressive look to it. It's very smooth and rounded. There's not like a standout feature on this thing that's like, wow, that's a badass car. I just don't think that there is one, which there's no doubt that that is the idea behind that design, was to be smooth and sleek and stuff like that. But to me, it just doesn't have any standout features. The only thing it had going for it was the pop-up headlights. Hat tip to the pop-up boys. But I will say though, this model in particular is the Z06. So that's probably a more aggressive styled car than the regular one will be. But yeah. It looks super mean. I am very surprised that I like that, but I do. And scrolling on down, the 2021 Ford Bronco. This thing has gotten so much hype and so much talk, and it's hideous. I do not like it whatsoever. Let me find an article here real quick that I had pulled up. Here it is. It looks terrible. It looks like a Hummer, a Jeep, and an FJ Cruiser had a three-way, and that's the result of it. Yeah, moving on. Speaking of Hummer, the 2022 Hummer. This thing, good lord, there's no words really. I've never thought Hummers looked that great, and this thing is no different. Don't know what to say about it really. It's like it doesn't know what it wants to be, whether it's a truck, a convertible, a T-top, a Jeep. But yeah, let's get off of this stuff. Let's find some sports cars. Alright, we got sports cars pulled up now. We're on the Car and Driver site. This site is insanely slow, so I hope it works through this video. But, oh yeah, first on the list we got the Mazda MX-5 Miata. Now, I'm not really a fan of convertibles, but this does come in a hardtop. But it's very hard to deny the heritage of the Miata, which it says here goes back to more than 30 years. This thing just has so much history, and the community behind the Miatas is just unreal. I would love to know how many Miatas have been turned into race cars over the years, because I'm sure it's a crazy amount. Now, while I wouldn't see myself owning one, you have to appreciate this platform and its ability and its history. And with some pretty deep pockets, you can make these things absolutely unreal. Just ask Mad Mike. The Red Bull. I could listen to that quad rotor all day. I cannot even imagine a 1200 horsepower Miata with the power to weight. It just has to be unreal. Alright, let's move on. Scrolling on down, the Supra. You know, I had such high hopes for the Supra whenever it was coming out, but I just can't get into them. At least not stock. I like to think that they designed this thing with the aftermarket in mind, knowing you're going to change a lot of things, because it's just those big bubbly rear fenders and the tire size and the ride height and all that stuff just looks off. I just don't like it. I can't get into it. It just starts off so good in the front. It looks super aggressive and all that, and then you get to the back and you're like, oh, it's a BMW Z3. I don't know. I just wish there wasn't so bubbly. That being said, I have seen some seriously good-looking Supras that are modified and fixed up. I try to keep that in mind because every car that I have bought or will buy will not stay stock long. You modify everything. And all I'm saying is it might take a little bit more with this car to make it look super sick, at least in my opinion. And I will say this image right here, the angle of it does make that look, I mean, extra bubbly. All right, let's move on down the list here. We got that. There's the Corvette. Now, see, this one's not the Z06, and it doesn't look as good, in my opinion. I think it's just those wheels, honestly. Those Z06 wheels just look way better. They seem to fill up a lot more space there in the rear and all that. Yeah. But carrying on, we got Porsches. I'm not a huge fan of Porsche. There are some that look good, like the GT3 and stuff like that, but I'm just not a huge fan of Porsche. The BMW M2, I really like this thing. It looks much better to me, in my opinion, than the new M3 and M4 because, let me find this picture real quick. The M3 and M4, I mean, look at that front grille. Why would they do that? That looks... I just do not like that front grille whatsoever. If that had the classic looking front end like the M2 does, it would be so much better. But I wouldn't mind an M2, but you also have to factor in the BMW problems and cost of maintenance and all that kind of stuff. But carrying on. All right, this next car, like the Supra, I did not like at first, but this one's growing on me. I am becoming a pretty big fan of this one, and that is the 2022 Nissan Z. They have taken away the 400Z apparently, it says in this article, but this thing, I was not a fan of this thing at all when it first came out. At first, honestly, I thought it was kind of lazy. I thought it was just a 370Z with a new headlight and taillight section, but the more I look at it, the more I'm really liking it. This image right here, I dig this shot right here. It just looks super good. The more I see of this car and the more I look at it, it's going to be a sick car to see on the streets, and it's going to be a sick car to see all modded out. I'm sure there's going to be wide body kits and stuff like that for it, and this thing's going to look mean. I think it's going to look really, really good. I really like this hood. The lines there just look super nice. I think, honestly, it ties into the interior. If you look at the seats here, it looks pretty close to the hood lines. I think that's a cool little touch. Maybe I'm totally off with that, but I think it looks similar. So I think it's cool. You know what would be sick is and I hope they do this, which I understand why they wouldn't, but man, I hope they do. If they do, it's going to be some extra bonus points, is if the exterior of the car, when the color changes, if they change the stitching and stuff on the seats. Like if this thing was orange and the seats were orange, or blue and the seats were blue, that would be so tight. I don't know if they'll do that or not, but if they did, man, that would be a nice touch. But either way, I feel like with this hyper yellow interior, it would look good with like gray and black, stuff like that. So I could see why they would keep that, but again, if the color changed, that would be awesome. Now the dash, I mean, I like this dash. It's clean. You know, you have the classic little pods up there. They have a big screen here, which I know a lot of cars are going to screens, but I don't think it's too much. The air vents look kind of old school, which I kind of like, and I love that it's a manual. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like all those little pods on the dash are actual gauges and not one of them a clock. All right, this next car kind of surprised me. The 2022 Honda Civic looks pretty sick. Like, I like this a lot. I did not expect that I would, but this thing looks really good. It reminds me a lot of the 5th gen, and the 5th gen to me is kind of like the classic one, especially in this shot here. Let me find this article here. Yeah, here you can really tell, like the taillights and stuff, how they are on the trunk and everything. They remind me so much of the 5th gen, and I feel like after the 5th gen, they kind of got meh on the looks for a little while. And I think that's because the back of the car doesn't have that like giant look to it, kind of like it does now. Let's see here, let me find the 5th gen image. Yeah, so here you can really tell. The taillights have like the same kind of space from the top of the trunk to the taillight. That's just how I'm thinking about it in my eyes. And yeah, here you can kind of tell as well how the shape of the window is. Because if you go back to the other one, it kind of has the same kind of look, but it has like a modern kind of flair to it now. And I really like this line right here from the taillight, and it goes down the car. I think that's a really cool line, a really cool edge. And I just like that a lot. And I'm kind of imagining this car with like some Type R type styling to it. It does come with a turbocharged option, so I am very excited to see this car in the future. once everyone gets their hands on it and begins modding it. All right, last but not least, I think this car is a 2020. I'm not even sure if this car is available in the US, but we have the Electra Mechanica Solo. What on God's green earth is this car? It's electric. It looks like a smart car got together with a Honda Insight, and this is what came out of it. I just don't know about this car. I thought this car was hilarious, and so I wanted to add it in here. We got some stats here. We got you got 100-mile range, which, I mean, come on. A blistering top speed of 80 mile an hour. Charges in 2.5 hours, not bad. But wow, the 0 to 60 is 10 seconds. That has to be well above average, and I mean, is that even safe for the road? Now I know that some people might say that the 0 to 60 doesn't matter, and while I agree to an extent, like for everyday driving, that's not going to matter a whole bunch. Like you're not drag racing it on the street or whatever. But all I'm saying is, I've never seen a quick car with a slow 0 to 60, and I would like to be able to pass a car without having to have a country mile to get up to speed. I mean, especially pulling out in the traffic. Like, whenever I want to pull out in the traffic, I want that bitch to go, and it better be able to get up to speed before, I mean, I couldn't even imagine that in this car. The only thing I see this thing being kind of good at is if you lived in the city, which a lot of the images here on the site do show it in the city. So I'm assuming they're targeting, like, the city crowd. Like, if you're in New York and you wanted this car to just, like, get to work and back, and you needed a small kind of car to fit into some places because there is hardly no parking in New York, this thing could be super handy. And on that note, that's going to do it for me in this one. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. I know these videos are kind of random, but I'm enjoying them, and I hope you guys are as well. Drop a comment down below and let me know your favorite car of 2021 or 2022, whatever car you have your eye on in the future. I know I missed the Toyota 86 and the Subaru BRZ twins. And I saw a lot of articles putting up the Kia Stinger. I don't know a lot about that car, but it's a Kia, and I'm a little iffy. So yeah, drop that comment. I would love to learn more about what you guys have your eyes on. And while you're down there, don't forget to do other YouTube stuff. You guys know how it goes. It helps out a bunch. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. Jesus, can you imagine that solo on like an interstate, like I-81? No thank you.